Hey everybody, Dan here with Pain Free You. Today's topic I want to talk about is, are you compelled to talk about your symptoms? So, I'll get to that in a minute. Take a couple of nice breaths, let you enjoy the lake. Rained for a few hours this afternoon, thunderstorm. Clear, it's past. Got some company coming up tomorrow, so that should be really nice. And hopefully enjoy a nice day on the lake. Let your body relax. Take a couple breaths. Get yourself centered. And so this topic in this conversation is going to be really about what's good for you. And I know many of us were compelled to talk about our symptoms. We want other people to know how bad it hurts. Because a lot of this TMS stuff is invisible, right? Meaning, you don't look sick, but you don't feel good, right? Doesn't matter what the symptoms are, whether it's a pain syndrome or some other symptom, it's invisible. Many of us look perfectly normal, except for the anguish on our face, right? So there seems to be a struggle a lot in the chronic pain, chronic symptom communities that other people think because you look normal, you should be able to do things. Or if you have a good day today and you have a worse day the next day, that you have to explain it so that they don't expect you to do too much. So there's a whole host of reasons why we feel compelled to talk about our symptoms. Sometimes it's just wanting to be seen, heard, felt, have other people understand so they can help us or be more patient with us. Other times it's purely just habit. It's like it's so all-consuming, there's nothing else that's on your mind to talk about. And so that's definitely an issue. So the reason it's a problem is because talking about our symptoms is not the way to make them go away, right? What we want to do is understand what causes them, perceive danger, know that that description of what's going on is what's going on for you, know that there's a cure, and know that you're capable of implementing it. Well, part of the cure in implementing the cure is not talking about it. What we want to do is teach our brains that these symptoms are insignificant. They're not of concern whatsoever. So why would you talk about it all day, every day, right? And I know for a long time I was the guy in the neighborhood with the back pain. I was the guy in the family with the back pain. Hey, Dan, how's your back? How's your back? How's your back? And I would engage in talking about it. Oh, it's pretty good today. Oh, it was a little better yesterday, but whoa, today's killing me. None of that ever helped me eliminate the symptoms. And at a certain point in time, I actually had to coach my wife at the time, my kid, and my family members, and my neighbors. Shh, stop asking me. That's not helping, right? And I'm going to really encourage you to do the same. The way I posed it was, I know you care about me. I know you love me. I know you're just wanting to know how I'm doing. If I need some help, I'll mention it. Until then, let's not talk about it. Doesn't benefit either of us. Right? And look, sometimes if you've got a sympathetic spouse that's listening to the videos with you and can truly be supportive in helping to implement these concepts, that's great. But if you're talking, focus on the solution, which is mindset, which is thinking accurately about the cause of the symptoms. Dialing down the fear, dialing down the focus and the attention on the symptoms. Because if we are talking about our symptoms in a way that many could categorize as complaining, you're perpetuating the brain's perception that something bad and dangerous is happening. Because you're always talking about it, and it always is coming out as frustration and fear and complaints. And nothing about complaining about your health says, I'm okay. So, I know many of us are compelled to speak about our pain, and I am not saying suffer alone. Again, sometimes, just a hand resting on your shoulder or holding hands with somebody who cares is enough. We don't have to talk about it. Because again, that's not part of the cure. One of the reasons why that's the case is neuroplasticity. And I'm not a huge let's rewire our brains guy. I think our brains know how to do that and will take care of it all on its own when we give it the right focus and intention. But if you're talking about your symptoms all day, every day, you're actually keeping those connections wired. And the brain says this is important. They're talking about it every day. And I use the Spanish language analogy a number of times. In high school, I had to learn Spanish to graduate, right? Well, I had to learn a language. That was one I picked. But after I graduated, what did I do? Kind of washed my hands of it and said, don't need that anymore. Now, did I have to do anything to unwire Spanish in my brain? Anything proactive? Not at all. Focused on college courses, playing music. I was a musician, so that's where my attention went. And as a result, those things got the attention, and my brain took care of what it was to learn those things. What happened to Spanish? All on its own, because I was giving it zero attention and zero value in my life at the time. No offense to any Spanish-speaking people, but just at the time, I no longer needed to retain that knowledge in order to graduate high school because I did that already. So all on its own, the brain rewired it and let these things go. So if you'd like your brain to forget how to fire pain signals, why talk about it? That would be like me being upset 10 years after high school. I can't believe I still know Spanish because I've been speaking Spanish every day for 10 years. It just doesn't make sense that speaking about our symptoms over and over again is helpful. And that further goes to how much internal dialogue and energy are you giving towards your symptoms, right? Are you spending a lot of time ruminating about them, being frustrated by them, trying to figure out how to fix them and cure them, and right? Same thing. Even the internal dialogue, always thinking about it, can keep it going longer than it needs to. So it's really important to recognize that the less you think about and talk about and focus on your symptoms, the faster they're going to go. But that can only happen if you have the foundation. Understanding what's causing the symptoms in the first place, believing that it applies to you, that you're really not broken physically, that you just have a brain that's in an overprotective state. Know that there's a solution, and know that you're capable of implementing that solution. That's the foundation you want to lay, and once you do that, then you can say, all right, now I see the logic in not speaking about it, not thinking about it. And I know, how am I supposed to not think about it, Dan? It hurts so much. I get it. I understand. It certainly does. So I'm not saying this is easy. It is challenging, but it is possible with awareness. And all of this is rooted on the deep belief. Take the knowledge and get it here. The deep belief that I'm actually okay. You're really okay. With that deep core belief of being really okay, it's easier to take your attention away from it, right? Because if you don't believe you're okay and you're terrified, do you know how easy it is to shift your attention away from symptoms? It's impossible. That's like saying there's a tiger locked in the room with you and it's looking really hungry and pissed off. And somebody says, ignore it, it'll leave you alone. You can't take your attention and focus off of something you're terrified from. So we have to use the accurate knowledge of what is going on, and that it applies to you, and know that there's a solution. In other words, it's temporary. So use that foundation to really dial down your fear and make a decision that there's nothing to be afraid of. The sensations are awful, they suck, It's miserable. Sometimes downright nasty. But at the end of the day, if you truly understand what's causing them and that there's a solution and that you can do that, guess what? You don't have to be afraid because it's temporary. There is a way out. There is a solution. And you can do it. So I hope that makes sense to you, right? If you feel compelled to talk about your symptoms all day, I'll ask you this last question. And I don't want anybody to take offense at this question. But do you want sympathy? Or do you want to get better? And I get the concept of getting sympathy. It feels good when somebody cares about us. And it's like, oh, damn, that looks tough. Yeah, I can't imagine being in your shoes, Dan. But sympathy only lasts so long, and it's not curative. So if you want sympathy, keep on talking about your symptoms, keep on complaining about them, making sure everybody around you knows how bad you're suffering. But that will delay the results. So if you want to get well, I'm going to strongly encourage that you greatly minimize, if not eliminate, the discussion about your symptoms, because they just, speaking about it and even thinking about it at great length all day, every day, keeps the symptoms present. So awareness, notice when you're talking about them, notice when you're thinking about them, and make a decision. Okay, I'm aware that I'm doing this. I know it's not the best, most conducive way to get through this, so I'm not going to do it again. I'm not going to do it anymore, or I'm going to minimize it. And if it seems overwhelming to just stop talking about the symptoms and stop thinking about symptoms, then do those things less. That's still progress. So make a commitment. I'm going to talk about this stuff less. I'm going to think about it less. When I notice myself doing it, I'm going to pattern interrupt and then move on. Shift attention to engaging in something else. So, hope everybody's doing well. I'm going to wrap this up. Enjoy the view of the lake. It is absolutely stunning here. I've had some amazingly peaceful times just sitting on the dock here and enjoying the nature sounds, the birds, the frogs, watching the water. It's a gorgeous place. So, hope everybody's doing great. Love you, and I will see you tomorrow. Take care.